Hi, I'd like to show some enhancements I've made to Illuminated Cloud's offline debugger. The offline debugger, if you're not aware, is a log-based debugger, so it actually uses logs that are generated by virtue of running some process in Salesforce. Illuminated Cloud integrates that pretty nicely so that you can just execute a unit test for debug. You can also debug anonymous Apex. You can pick up any log from the log analyzer. Or you can actually paste in external logs. In this case, I already have a log that's been run with the correct log levels for a unit test, and I just like to show these new enhancements. So it's going to start with some class field initializers. I'm just going to run to a breakpoint that I have, because what I'd actually like to show is the first of the two major enhancements, which is something called Smart Step Into. In this case, there are multiple methods being called here. This could be the result of kind of a composition style pattern like you see here. It could also be the result of a builder pattern or a fluent style API. For example, this comparator is integer comparator ascending, nulls first. That's more of a fluent API to generate a comparator properly configured. And traditionally what you would have to do is you'd have to step into integer comparator, you'd have to step in and step out of that, step into ascending, step out of that, step into nulls first, step out of that, and then you could step into sort if you actually wanted to debug sort. Or you could set a breakpoint within sort, or you could say run to cursor within sort. But now there's a much easier way to do that. I'm actually going to use the smart step into behavior, which is Shift F7 on the keyboard, and it's going to actually evaluate for the current line that I'm on, and not just the line, but the potentially multi-line expression that begins on the current line. It's going to find all of the potential contexts for stepping into, and it's going to allow you to cycle through them. So integer comparator would be first, ascending would be after that, nulls first would be after that, and then of course once that was initialized, then you could step into sort. And so in this case I'm going to step into ascending, and it's going to actually execute all of the log events that needed to occur between the beginning of that line and having stepped into ascending. And so that makes sure that the state is all correct in the debugger. And now I can begin stepping over. I can step out of this. I can again say that I want to do a smart step into, and now it understands that only nulls first and sort are remaining. So now I can step into sort, and it will actually allow me to step into that method, and I can begin to work within that method. And let's take a look at the second feature now that we've shown how smart step into works, and that is basically inline variable hints. So you can see one of these here on the actual method signature for the two method parameters, objects and comparator. Now again, this is going to be limited by the capabilities of log-based debugging, and in this case the log said that this list of objects is too large to display, so it's not actually showing details on it. However, for the comparator it is showing details. It's showing that the value of comparator is an instance of comparator, and it has member fields with values ascending false, case sensitive true, nulls first false. Now we can also see that down here in the variables view, but this gives us a very quick way to see that as we're stepping through the code and we're looking at the actual code, and we can see the values of variables. So let's just keep stepping over, and we can see that adapters was just initialized and it's an empty collection. And now I'm going to step over the objects, and I can see that the first object is a value of 10, and I can now step over again, and it's a value of 5 as I loop through this. Now it's a null value. So you can actually see the various stack variables in line at their point of declaration, and as values change, you can see that null has now taken on this kind of red hue. That means that in the last execution, the last time I stepped over, its value was changed to null. In this case, I'll step over again; it was changed to 15. The line that I'm on actually has multiple opportunities for stepping into. It has a constructor, comparator adapter, and a method called add. Of course, the order is going to be the comparator adapter constructor is going to be called first, and then the add method. If I wanted to step into the comparator adapter, I could just step into it. Now I'm actually in that constructor. We'll go ahead and step over. If instead I wanted to step into add, I'll just cursor over, and we can step into the add, and the constructor has already been called. So again, these two working together to give you quite a bit of power. Let's just kind of keep stepping over and look at the adapters down here. Again, it's showing you the adapter. The detailed expression of this particular variable is also now shown inline down here. So you can see the comparator, you can see the value of list too large to display, the comparator adapter. So I can expand this, but I actually don't have to expand it in order to get a pretty good notion of what's going on, because this is effectively an inline serialization of the same information you would see if you expanded it. So those are two enhancements to the offline debugger. They're really just efficiency enhancements and kind of UX style enhancements, just to make it easier to get to the code that you want to debug and to see the state of things without having to go into the variables view and expand a lot of information. You can actually see things as you're stepping through the code. So I hope you find these really useful. Certainly, as always, a log-based debugger with the level of features that we're starting to accumulate here is going to be a pretty complex piece of software. So if you find something not working properly, information not being reported properly, and it's not just based on the source information come from the log, feel free to report a bug. Just let me know, and I'll certainly look into it and take care of it. Thank you very much.